Good morning, eighth grade. I'm trying to get my computer situated going. Okay, we're going to try and do what we did yesterday. Today we are talking about, this is 1-3, and this is, let me turn this a little bit so it's kind of straight. Maybe I've got it turned the wrong way. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, this is 1-3, order of operations. Order of operations and absolute value. Okay, so remember that the absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line, not opposite. That's a common mistake. People seem to think that it's the opposite of what's inside the absolute value symbols. Okay, the symbol is, I use the backslash, okay? You'll normally see it when it's printed as the verticals, but so that way it doesn't look like a 1 to me. We're gonna work a few of these problems together, and the expectation is you will go back and finish them. We're gonna look at number 3. So I'm asking myself the distance. -3 is from 0. 3, the distance, I do this first. -5 is from 0. 5, and then I do the operation 3 plus 5, which equals 8. And yes, I expect to see this step where you've got it written out and then you've got your answer. Next one we're going to work is 4. Okay, so again, the absolute value of 9. That means I want to know how far is +9 from 0. +9, not -9. Plus, absolute value of -8 is 8. Add these together and we get 17. Next one, number 7. Absolute value of -11 is 11. The distance from 0 is 11. Now I do the absolute value of -5. That is 5. I bring down the minus. So I have 11 minus 5, which is 6. Remember, you can stop and pause the video as you need if I'm moving too fast for you writing, or for you to rehear what I've said. Now, for this one, okay, we simplify what's inside of the parentheses first, okay? So I'm going to put a little note here. Simplify, if I can spell, simplify inside first. So I'm going to do 15 minus 23. So I've got to follow my integer rules. The 23 is negative, so therefore different signs. I'm doing battle, so I'm going to actually be subtracting. So I'm going to actually do 23 minus 15, which gives me 8. The battle is being won by the negatives. Okay, so remember this is battle, and the negatives are winning. So I'm going to end up with the absolute value of -8. And now I take the absolute value, which is 8. And now we move on to order of operations. Remember, the expectation is for you to finish the rest of these, okay? But save that to do after you finish the video. All right, so for order of operations, this is simplifying an expression, using a specific order. The one you probably remember from last year is P. I like to refer to it as G. I like the G versus the P, okay, but it's standing for grouping symbols, which grouping symbols are parentheses. Make sure I spell parentheses correctly. Okay, absolute value symbols, the division bar, and brackets. And there's others as well. I just can't think of them at the moment. Those are all examples. So we look for grouping symbols first, which we remember as P for PEMDAS. And then we have E for exponents. Then we have the M or the D for multiplication. Or division. From left to right, whichever comes first. And then last but not least, we have the addition or the subtraction. Addition backslash subtraction. And again, this is also from left to right. And it's whichever comes first for both of these. Okay, so now we're going to work a couple of problems. So we're going to start off by looking at number 14. Okay, I don't want to do all of these right now because it would take too much time. So when I'm looking at this, I first go through and I look, are there any grouping symbols? No. So then I'm looking for exponents. Yes, I have the 2 to the 5th power. Okay, so therefore that means the 2 to the 5th, that means I'm actually doing 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to give me 32. So now I plug that in here. So I'm going to have 17 minus 32 divided by 4 plus 6. And yes, you write down everything you didn't use. This is your first step. Okay, step 2. Now I'm going to underline what I do next. 32 divided by 4, because that's multiplication or division that's next. There's no multiplication, so I'm looking to see division. Or I look to see if there's division before multiplication. So my next step is now going to be 17 minus 32 divided by 4, which is 8, plus 6. Different color, guys. Okay, now my next step, I'll look for addition or subtraction. Now in this one, it's not I'm looking to do addition first, it's whichever one comes first as I read from left to right. So I'm doing the 17 minus 8 first. So this is step 3, which is going to be 9 plus 6, which then that gives me my final answer of 15. Moving on to our next example. This up a little bit. Okay. Different colors going here. So when I'm looking at this, remember that this fraction bar separates. So I can do what's on top at the same time as I do what's on the bottom. Okay. Work on top and bottom at same time. All right, so I'm looking to see, are there any grouping symbols? Yes, but once I'm inside the grouping symbols, I start GEMDAS over again. So I'm going to do this 2 to the 4th, and then I'm also going to do the 2 times 5 at the same time. So now I'm going to have open parentheses, 7 minus 4, close parentheses, plus 17, all over, negative 14, plus 10. Next step. Now I'm going to simplify what's inside the parentheses, and I'm going to do this subtraction on the bottom. So I'm now going to have 7 minus 4, which is 3, plus 17, all over negative 14 plus 10 gives me a negative 4. And then, excuse me, turn this off. And now I'm going to have 20 divided by negative 4, which gives me my final answer of negative 5. I didn't underline this step here because this is what I'm doing next. All right, moving on to our next example. This is going to be number 17. Here we go. So again, I'm looking for grouping symbols first. And when I look at this, I've got two sets. I have the 8 minus 5, which I can do, but then inside these absolute value symbols, I have to start parentheses again, or not parentheses, PEMDAS again, or GEMDAS again. So I'm going to do the exponents inside of here. So I'm now going to have 8 minus 5, so that's 3 to the third power, minus 15 squared. That's not 15, sorry, that's 5 squared. See, the absolute value symbol made it look like a 15 to me really quickly. So 5 squared, that's giving me 25. Don't forget your absolute value symbol. Minus 4 to the third power, which is 64. Divided by 3. Next step, I'm going to do the 3 to the third power, and you can leave this in the parentheses, especially if you end up with a negative number. Go ahead and leave that in the parentheses. And I can also do this subtraction, which that's going to give me 27 minus absolute value of negative 39, divide by 3. Now I'm going to do the absolute value, and I end up with 27 minus 39, because the absolute value of negative 39 is 39, divided by 3. Now I'm going to do the division. So I'm going to have 27 minus 13, which gives me a final answer of 14. And yes, you have to show every single step of calculation. All right, 2 more. Just trying to show you plenty of examples so you'll know how to map through the problems. All right, looking at this one, oh, we've got grouping symbols inside of grouping symbols here. So I've got to look to see. I do the 5 minus 9 first, and I can do the 20 squared. So I'm going to have 20 squared. That's going to give me 400 divided by, my bracket symbol didn't turn out very well, 3 times 5 minus 9 is negative 4 squared plus 2, all inside the bracket. And next, now I'm going to be doing the negative 4 squared, not the multiplication. That's a common mistake. We're not doing 3 times negative 4. We're doing the negative 4 squared. So I'm going to bring down everything else, 400 divided by, open bracket, and now that's going to give me 3 times 16, because negative 4 times negative 4 is a positive 16, plus 2. Now inside here, I do this multiplication. So I now have 400 divided by, curvy bracket, 3 times 16 is 48, plus 2, curvy bracket. Now I'm doing inside the brackets, 48 plus 2. So now I have 400 divided by 50, which gives me an answer of 8. And now our last one. 24. Okay, again, we've got to pay attention here to parentheses and absolute value symbols. So right now I can do this subtraction inside the parentheses, 8 minus 11, and I can do the absolute value of negative 14. And I can also do 2 to the 4th power. So I can do several things at one time here. So I'm going to have negative, and then I end up with the open parentheses, negative 3 to the 3rd power. You have to put that inside the parentheses, minus 3 times the absolute value of negative 14 is 14, all divided by 2 to the 4th power is 16 minus 7. And now I start to simplify. Here I can do the negative 3 to the 3rd power, and I can do the 3 times 14, or the negative 3 times 14, and the 16 minus 7. Negative 3 to the 3rd power, that's going to give me a negative 27. So I have a negative, open parentheses, negative 27 minus 3 times 14, which is 42, all over 16 minus 7, which is 9. And now I'm going to kind of come up here because I don't have enough room. So I'm going to do the negative times a negative 27. So that's going to give me a positive 27. So I have 27 minus 42 all over 9. I have to follow my integer rules and do the 27 minus 14. Remember, that's doing battle. My answer better be negative. So I'm going to have 42 minus 27, which gives me a negative 15 divided by 9. But wait a minute. If I do that division, that doesn't equal a whole number. I'm going to write that as the fraction. So I'm going to just simplify. I can divide by 3 to both, and that's going to give me negative 5/3. Write it as the fraction. Okay, your assignment now is going to be to finish the problems on the notes page, and then you will take a picture of the front and back and upload it to Schoology. Please go back into and let me know in the chat that you have finished copying the notes so I can put you with your partners to work on the finishing up the notes. Thank you.